Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Overnight Friday, Ukraine came under the heaviest attack by the Kremlin in a week. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, Russian forces launched more than 450 drones and 30 missiles across the country. Now, Zelensky said civilian and energy infrastructure remain Russia's primary targets ahead of the winter heating season. One of the main targets of the latest assault was the Ukrainian capital, where several apartment buildings were set on fire by the attacks. The city's mayor reported that 12 people were injured and 8 of them were hospitalized. Energy facilities were among the main targets of the strike. The private Ukrainian energy company DTEK said 6 districts of Kiev were left partially without power, while about 28,000 customers in the wider region were cut off entirely. Strikes were also reported in other parts of the country. In the Zaporizhia region, a 7-year-old child was killed and 5 people were injured. In the Dnipro region, energy infrastructure, residential buildings and transport networks in Dnipro and surrounding districts came under heavy fire. Nationwide, officials say more than 20 people have been injured and emergency crews are still working to repair critical infrastructure damaged in the overnight assault. On the front line, Ukrainian military analysts say Russian forces are attempting to encircle the town of Liman from the north while carrying out diversionary frontal attacks from the direction of Zarychne, where fighting continues inside the village itself. They believe Russia's operational goal is to cut off Liman from all supply routes, except the southern corridor across the Siversky Donets River, and then bring those crossings under fire control in order to eventually capture Liman and advance towards Sloviansk. Now we're moving on to the Middle East, where a senior Hamas negotiator, Khalil al-Hayya, has announced the end of the war in the Gaza Strip and the start of a peace agreement. That's according to reports from Reuters and Al Jazeera. Al-Hayya said that Hamas is declaring a permanent ceasefire and the official end of hostilities in Gaza. Under the agreement, the Rafah border crossing will reopen in both directions. The deal also includes the release of all Palestinian women and children held in Israeli prisons. According to Al-Hayya, Hamas has received guarantees from the United States, Arab mediators and Turkey that the war in Gaza is over for good. He added that 250 Palestinians serving life sentences in Israeli prisons will be freed, along with around 1,700 detainees from Gaza who are arrested since the start of the conflict. Meanwhile, the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has approved the ceasefire deal. It calls for the release of Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The Israeli army is expected to pull back the new positions inside Gaza within 72 hours, after which Hamas is to release all remaining hostages. Now, on the Toretsk front, mobile fire groups of the Ukrainian Khyzhak Brigade continue to strengthen control over the airspace and defend the approaches to their positions. This video shows highlights of their work, accurate responses to Russian FPV drones, and interception of Molniya drones approaching Ukrainian units. The commanders of the Khyzhak Brigade emphasize that success depends not only on the accuracy of the shooter, but also on timely reconnaissance, correctly chosen positions and well-rehearsed coordination between groups. Mobility allows units to quickly change firing points and not give the enemy any windows for effective attacks.
Yes! She knows it! Ha! Ajara Guju! Есть друга! Есть!
Минус.
Есть, красавчики!
Еще один. Знищені підери в квіт. к острову. Ну, это летом.
Вань, вона втратила керування, зараз на кінець упаде. Наліво, да.
Крылом.
Є! Всего хорошего, бля. Идут домой.
And honestly, bringing drones down with gunfire from the ground is one of the most impressive feats you're going to see. The Ukrainian army has become such a formidable fighting force that many NATO countries would probably be best advised to just sit down and learn the latest tactics from the Ukrainians. Now, moving on. While performing a combat mission in the Kupiansk area, Ukrainian troops discovered a group of invaders who had entrenched themselves in one of the residential buildings there. The Russians tried to hold their position and open fire, but Ukrainian soldiers responded immediately. After a brief but intense firefight, Ukrainian defenders assessed the risks of a frontal assault and made a rational decision to hand over the work to drones. Within minutes, FPV operators took control of the building. Precise strikes by drones on windows and roofs eliminated enemy firing points, after which the building was reduced to ruins. Only fragments of equipment and the remains of Russian gear were left at the site.
Граната! Давайте одну! Крий! Крий! Крий!
Moving on to our next story, and against the backdrop of escalating tensions along the border, the 78th Airborne Assault Regiment, operating in its area of responsibility near the village of Yelizavetivka in the Kursk region of Russia, continues to demonstrate coordinated and multi-layered efforts to destroy enemy positions and logistics. The last few days are a vivid illustration of how the combination of reconnaissance, fire correction and strike UAVs translates into operational results. Several enemy vehicles have been disabled, a number of firing positions have been destroyed, and the enemy's supply and regrouping in this area has been significantly hampered. The unit also confirms enemy casualties and disruption of their operational network. And with this, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.